Welcome back to United Lens. Tonight we're previewing the Sunderland against Manchester United, but this one feels different, doesn't it? Champions League football is secured. The pressure has changed, and now the big question is simple, guys. Do United go for full strength, or is it time to play the kids? I want to look at this properly, not just emotionally, because it's a balance between keeping momentum and protecting the key players and giving younger players a real chance. So tonight we're asking, what should Carrick do? And before we get into it, if you want proper Manchester United conversation through a coaching lens, previews, reviews, scorecards, and tactical breakdowns, hit the subscribe button, guys. We're on the road to 150, and we want 500 by the start of the next season, okay? So get involved in the chat and help build United Lens. United have secured Champions League qualification now. We all couldn't be happier, right? Carrick has hinted he's aware that some of the players in the squad need reward, and reports are saying rotation is now possible with now the pressure's been reduced in the games, right? So, my question to you, Champions League is secured, so now what? Do United keep the strongest side together and chase third, which is only 1 point that we need? Or is Sunderland the game where Carrick gives the kids and the fringe players a proper chance, okay? The way I see it is Sunderland away is still a real Premier League test. Stadium of Light, horrible place to go. Up to the northwest. It's northeast even. Bloody hell. Must be late. United just can't switch off. But this is exactly the kind of game where squad management actually matters when you're looking at a whole squad and not just a starting 11. The debate is not kids or no kids. It is how many changes are sensible, I suppose is the best way to put it into words. So my question in the chat, while we get the show up and running, is to you guys, and it is, would you rotate heavily, lightly, or not at all? So you can just put a H, an L, or a no. Okay? So get that going in the chat. I'll pop in and speak to you all in a sec. The other thing we will start while you are all answering this. And guys, if you haven't been in the chat, get in there. The last show was absolutely cooking. There was quite a few new names, 4 new subscribers. Might not sound many to some of you watching, but to me, every new subscriber is a great thing. Get in there and literally have your say. You don't need to chat if you don't feel comfortable, but the guys in there will make you feel comfortable. I promise you. This is where you have to sort of link it all together, right? United have Champions League. We all know that. The immediate pressure has changed from basically almost a mindset of shit. If we drop points, we're not going to get Champions League to, we've done it. All pressure off. Carrick still has a top 3 finish to protect. Like I said, it's 1 point from 3 games. There's a guaranteed top 3. Some of us might want to hope we can chase down City and City lose all of their matches. Realistically, not going to happen, but, we could dream. The Carrick rotation hasn't really happened over the course of his tenure so far because it's been about getting a job done. So this is the real test of his man management, I would say. How do they phrase it? This is not a dead rubber, but it's no longer a panic game. For the changes, the selection kind of conversation is all we have left because all the other questions have finally been answered. But we've been hoping about this season. So I want to see where you guys are at. Okay, let's have a look. Look, chat's already going. Danny's in there. Bilal. Who we got? else? Anyone else? Yeah, Cheeto won't play. He played tonight. No. Strongest team possible. Totally, really, maybe one change. Okay. I don't think we can play the kids. They played tonight. Yeah, True Bilal, the 18s are playing in the Cup too. The 21s played tonight. Look, guys, I know what you're saying about the ones that have played, but there's still some we can call up. There are some that sit on the bench for the 21s that might not start for the 18s. It's about being around that squad. You've got to remember, each squad's about 25 players, roughly, for the 18s and that might not have even been playing. So there are still opportunities, and it is. So if someone hasn't had their opportunity, we can give them a call up. So who's already had a chance this year? Fletcher's, Mantaro, Lacey. We could add Fredrickson in, but not really, because that was a year before. So there are people who could potentially get a shout out. Who was on the bench? We will have a look in a minute. Well, who was on the bench and didn't get on or didn't get many minutes? Kokonki would be a prime example, Danny. You literally just took the words out of my mouth. Okay, so we'll go through that, but we'll talk about this more as what should be happening. Now, obviously, the 21s have made the PL2 final, and the 18s are in the FA Cup Youth final, and maybe at the end of this show, we will cover the absolute shit show the FA have caused with the ground on that. But as Carrick touched on it in his press conference. But where we need to keep our focus for now is the Sunderland game. Okay. Now, the way I saw it is, in my head, you don't change your team. You just get over the line. We need 1 point, get 3 points, job done. Doesn't really matter after that. Okay, then you've got 2 games where it's Nottingham Forest, who their season's now over. The way I see it, I think they're safe, and obviously they lost in Europa League, so their season's done. And then Brighton, last game of the season. So we get this Sunderland game out the way with points, and we're done. You had to pay to watch it on YouTube. Oh, I didn't know that was possible. Okay. So that's what United are moving into. I knew they'd been doing something. So what I want to look at is, say, where should we start? We'll look at it from sort of where I am as a coach. Okay. Results are all about rhythm. Going out, doing the job over and over again. Now, in our back line, which I think is a great place to start, with the exception of Luke Shaw, who made it back into the last game, it hasn't changed. Okay. Now, we weren't sure if Shaw was going to start or not, hence the reason we've already mentioned Kokonki's name, who for me is a very good prospect at left back for Manchester United. Strong, powerful, but I can cover that another time. But Harry Maguire coming back into the team has been absolutely superb. From my opinion, just calmed it down. It's not about winning every tackle, winning every header, which he always does. Sometimes about what he's given the players around him, the goalkeeper, Casemiro, Manu in front of him, but more importantly, Heaven next to him. I think Aiden Heaven has looked absolutely superb. And when he started in that Chelsea match, and we keep going back to it, the tackles, the jumping in, it was a little bit too, whoa, mate, calm down. You're on the big leads now. You've got to take it careful. Okay. We are constantly, week in, week out, talking about Mazraoui right back, Dalot right back. Okay. And everyone has that opinion. And it seems the manager has his opinion, and his opinion is Dalot over Mazraoui. Now, Mazraoui is probably used to this because that's what it was at Bayern. So he's always been second string since he left Ajax. So he's always comfortable with coming in. And sometimes that's a good thing. If you can find a player Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that's always stays in the game when they're sat on the bench. When they come on, they do the job. But I can flip that. We'll go back to Heaven. Heaven's come in and he's literally taken every opportunity he's had, and I don't think he's let Man United down this season at all, under Amorim or under Carrick. Martinez, on the other hand, not so much. Oh, bless me. I didn't sneeze down the microphone for once. That's nice. Heaven's come in and he has literally, ball by the horn, gone, this is my chance. I'm here to stay. Whereas Martinez came back from his injury and got himself a stupid red card, 3-game ban. He is now back. Thank you, Danny. I personally don't see Martinez getting back in this team this season. I feel he let the manager down with the hair pull, however soft and stupid it was, and everything that's happened afterwards. That's been and gone. He got the red card, so he misses a load of games, comes back for 1 game, gets banned. Not good enough. Okay, from what we would definitely class as an experienced professional. Whereas Aiden Heaven showed composure, calmed himself down, and didn't do anything stupid. So, yeah, that might touch on that later. Evening Grace. Right, bad timing, lads. If she scrolls back up in that chat, but Grace has just popped her head in. So it's as if she's summoned by the talk of Dallo. When Martinez is on his game, I think he brings something this team needs very much. The fight, the determination, let's be avenue kind of scenario, okay? But it's too hit and miss. We know it's the Argentinian way, definitely the Argentinian way in the Premier League, because I really don't think there is much between Romario, I can't say his name. There's no difference between the Tottenham centre backs, Romero, and Martinez. They are a walking red card. You think they're always going to lose their temper. You think they're always going to leave one on someone, jump in. We've seen him jump in 2-footed, like almost stamping on the ball and things like that before. And I think for Michael Carrick won't have it at all. So Harry Maguire can't calm down someone like Martinez. Whereas Aiden Heaven, he totally got hold of him and controlled him, and they just dovetailed together really well. No different to Casemiro and Mainu, age and youth. Just listen to me and I'll talk you through the game. And there's a lot to be said for that. You know, I've said about it when we talked about what kind of players I would want to bring in. That's something we need in midfield to replace. When Casemiro goes, it doesn't matter who the player is. They need to be able to calm the game down and calm the players down around them. I think Dallo starts at right back, like I said, guys. And I think that's a solid back line. Dallo, Maguire, Heaven. And whether Shaw starts or whether, because he looked knackered at the end of the last game, and we went off the game before that, and we know he's played a lot of games now. He's also had a lot of time off because of the less games we've played. So Mans might come in at left back, or Dallo go over to left back, whichever way Carrick wants to see it. That is a possibility, but if you can see on the graphic behind me, where should I go? I will move this way. Right, see up here, this side. I've just put up basically the Liverpool lineup. I don't think there'll be any changes to this lineup. Okay, you see where it's got us now. Table, last results. You might have noticed I've made a few changes to the graphics. These are really important, more important than you would think, because if you look how I line my players up, I line them to play through the gaps, and that's how I would defend. So when I talk about the team, hopefully this will help. Let's have a quick catch up with the chat as you guys have been chatting away. Grace has come in. I just got here and you're talking about Dallo. You are a disgrace. Well, he's a defender, and defence always comes first at the beginning of the show. The Prem tried to screw us over with Leisha, but it backfired badly. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Man United have only got one defender left. Oh, yeah, and he's come in and absolutely been superb. Grace, hi. I wasn't saying anything bad about Dallo yet. Shut up, don't talk to me. Right. I don't think I need to read all these out. I think... Yep, I think he is determined to play every game this season. And maybe there is something we don't know about. Like this kind of determination, maybe Casemiro's rubbing off on the players, the way he's playing, and they think, well, no, I'll show him I can do the same sort of thing. Or is he thinking about retirement? You play every game and then you hang your boots up. You gave your all and that's it, done. That's just fair play. Heaven left back, Euro and Maguire centre backs. That is an option. I've seen Heaven play left back for the 21s. He can dribble. I think positionally he still tucks in towards the centre back sort of role, which means Dallo could really bomb on down the right, and then we would just load up the right hand side. Rubbing off on the players in a good way, not that kind of way, Bilal. So yeah, cut that out. I think moving on to the midfield, right? Sunderland. Well, I didn't really talk about even Sunderland's front line. So Sunderland's front line against our defence, I think we should have an easy matchup against them. But Sunderland have been an absolute joy for someone like me to have back in the Premier League and stay up first time of asking. Stop the Gary Nevilles and that keep talking about, teams come up and they go straight back down and all of that, okay? Brian Bobby up front. Ten Hag wanted Brian Bobby, if you all remember back when, as a backup with Rasmus in the first year. We didn't go for him. He stayed at Ajax. He was actually the replacement to... Can't think who the striker was. But it was definitely the season. He came in literally to replace someone, and I can't think who it was. Big, strong, sort of a Timu version of a Mateta. I don't think he's that great, but he holds the ball up. He is very strong. He is very powerful. Lefay behind him, though, coming through, is more of the old school sort of number 10, or if Xerxes likes to call it, a 9.5. So, yeah, that's it. We got Xerxes instead of Brian Bobby. They worry me a little. Pace against... So, Harry Maguire won't be able to just out-muscle Brian Bobby. He is an absolute unit. Lefay's quick. So, the way I see it is, again, with these teams that play one up front, Maguire's going to pick up Bobby, and Lefay will be marshalled by Aidan Heaven, hopefully stepping in front to pick him up early. Or at least double up with Casemiro and just sort of rob the ball off him as they play him into the 10 role. So that's sort of how I see the defence. Midfield, come on. What more can we say over the last 4 or 5 sort of previews, reviews, this channel, that channel? Casemiro, Kobe Manu. Or Casemiro, because they are literally as it one now, and the way they move, everything is, with the exception of the first Liverpool goal, I'm going to say everything in midfield is almost becoming quite seamless with them. Yep. Grace, if you want to get that T-shirt on, and I'm sure someone will agree with you. It won't be me, but someone will agree with a free Ugarte T-shirt. But it was free Casemiro. That's what really should have been put on his brother's shirt. I think they're superb. I think the way they dovetail, one goes forward, one stays. Did we get a little bit carried away against Liverpool? Maybe. Or maybe a pattern of play went wrong. I've seen it enough times in all my life. Just someone thought they were going to get the ball, thought the easy pass was on, so the player's not out of position because they're ahead of the pass, ready for the press if it does go wrong, and they've turned around past it, and now your whole team's out of position. Happens a lot when you attack down the wings and turn back and pass instead of crossing the ball. So yeah, it is. There isn't much more I can say. Like I said, I feel Casemiro will double up on Lefay with Heaven, and I'm saying Heaven stays in. A lot of people are talking about Martinez coming back in. When I looked on FootMob, if you want to sponsor the show, that'd be amazing, as I do always use you. But when I looked on FootMob, they've got Martinez starting. Now, I totally don't agree with it. They also had Mason Mounts coming in on the left, Cunha up front. So tells you what I think about their lineups. But they're going purely on data. They might even have parts from the embargo section, which I think comes or has just come out tonight for the game. But Mainu, in my eyes, has played himself into a 30-man England squad. But we need him to keep going forward. But, and this is a big but, it's a question I'm going to put to all of you. So whether you're watching now or you're watching this back, should we give Kobe Mainu, well, not a breather, that's the wrong way I'm going to put it. Should we just take Mainu and put him on the bench for the start of this game and bring in one of the Fletchers? Because first off, let's protect Mainu for the England thing. He's done his job. He's been playing every game and he's been getting better and better and better. And sometimes to keep a player grounded, to make sure they keep working, you take them back out. Now, it's always a gamble for a manager to do that. Good night, Bilal. Make sure you've whacked a like on the video, please, mate, before you go. Thank you for turning up, as always. If we can keep Mainu grounded, he will always progress. I think he's quite a grounded person and has shown real, I won't say class with what's gone on this season, but composure. We heard a lot, but never from him. We heard from his brother. We've heard from his agent. We've never seen anything bad from Mainu looking like he wanted out of the club. So, did they both play, Danny? I thought only one of them was playing. Not for this game, for next Fletcher's. Okay, so Freights, he could come in, but I'm just saying we could just give someone else a run out in midfield. So maybe even Ugarte. Dare I say Ugarte stays. Because if we don't play someone like Ugarte tomorrow, it's going to be very hard to get decent money for him. Okay, so playing him for the last two games helps keep him in the window. Playing someone like the Fletchers in the last couple of games helps see if they're ready for it with less pressure. That's the point of it that I'm going through this tonight. So, Danny, I really appreciate you because I haven't watched the 21s. You can imagine I was sorting out the show and a few other bits tonight. Because I'm going to watch the 21s back in the morning and then watch the 18s. So we will agree to disagree on that side of things, on who, but you can't disagree with the idea. If we always complain that Man United don't sell anyone for any decent money, then we need to play them to try and get that value up. Okay, this goes the same for Xerxes, Mason. Well, we're not going to sell Mason Mount. Xerxes, Ugarte, they're probably the main two, aren't they? But if the youngsters aren't good enough, we've got to let them go. Okay. So we've just got in here. Grace has just said Tyler is an 8, Jack is a 10. I think Tyler is better. I agree. One also plays for England and one plays for Scotland. Ballon d'Or, Ugarte. Don't forget, guys, there is one player who could start tomorrow, but I've left him on the bench and I just expect maybe a few more minutes. But we have back we do have. He may not have been nominated, but Ballon d'Or back. You know, he was absolutely flying. Agreed. Fletcher, Freight should get 15 to 30 minutes each at least before the season ends. Good. You like to see the way I'm thinking. That's all I'm trying to do is just, Danny, I know you watch the youth, and I know some of the other channels I've seen you on, and your comments, and I know you are of the same similar mindset. But to everyone, what I try to do is look at the aspects of United stand, tactical Devils have a different aspect to them. I look at Stratford Paddock versus FUTV, and they have similar ideas. And it's like, well, what are you not saying? And that's what I'm trying to give you. So the reasons why someone might or might not do something, I try to put a little bit more insight in there. And that's not putting down any of the channels. I would love to be as big as United Stand, and Adam's done a phenomenal job with FUTV from stepping away. Stretford Paddock, it is what it is, and Tactical Devils, obviously I love that show, especially on Monday nights when I'm on it. So yeah, let's have a look. Ugarte World Cup 2 wants to be sharp. Exactly. If he has a good World Cup, if he's playing for us, we get his sharpness up. Has a good World Cup, helps us get someone in, especially in sort of Spain or Italy or Portugal. They're the kind of teams that would go for a South American player. I don't think France would take him back, but unless we sell him to our own club, I would put Dorgu at left back to see how he gets on. Grace, I don't think he can defend at all. I don't think he's anywhere near a defensive player. But I do agree. It gives him some time. It's not a bad one. Slower LG Grace. Slower league Grace like Italy. Yeah. Send Ugarte to Chelsea. Hey, I think no one could go to Chelsea. Am I not right in thinking they've now got a transfer ban? So don't know what's going to go on there, unfortunately. But yeah, the midfield. If we were to take Casemiro and Manu out, they've been playing great, but we've still not been very stable in that midfield. So I just feel it's an opportunity for someone else to come in. And Manu seems like the obvious choice just because it's Casemiro's last season. He's not necessarily going to start for Brazil either, although the way he's playing, he'll be wearing the bloody armband and leading them out there. It's down to what he would do, but I just think a little bit of rotation should happen. Then you've got the three in front, which is really been the heartbeat of the team. So you've got Mbumo, absolutely superb. I thought he could have been on for a 9 out of 10 against Liverpool if he stayed on that right-hand side. If you watch the player ratings and that, as I said, he was absolutely superb. And why we put him up front? You don't move the player who's absolutely rinsing someone. So I wouldn't do that. But what worries me about Mbumo is trying to think of the words to put it right, guys. A lot of people are saying his form's dropped off. He's never really got back to the form of before he went to the AFCON. Okay, so yeah, valid point. So he's played a few more games than everyone else. Only by 2 or 3, because for some reason people like to go, oh, well, there's 38 games in the league, but he went to AFCON. Well, the league games we had when he was at AFCON, obviously he didn't play in both. So, and I've noticed a few channels doing that math, and it does worry me. I hope they do their tax returns better. But Mbumo up against Rodinho and Talibi. No, not the goalkeeper. I think he could have him on toast. I think he could absolutely keep him pinned back, and it will make the game very easy for us. But I could also understand if he started Ahmad. The way Carrick came onto the pitch, arm around Ahmad, sort of like, don't worry about it. Look, we won the game. Get your head up. Keep going. Says to me, form dip, confidence dip. The only way to get that up is you pick him for the next match. You start him. Now, obviously, can backfire, right? You can backfire. You can go out a little bit nervous that he's going to make another mistake, and that would show us a lot about the player. I think when we done the coach's view, that I said Ahmad might be right to move on. He has a high ceiling, but he doesn't seem to be growing anymore. And then when you bring in someone like Mbumo, how are you going to fit him in the team? He seems incapable of playing on the left or swapping sides, so that doesn't help himself. So if we can't get his confidence up, is that someone we could move on in the summer? Because we have Shea Lacey, another youth player, obviously played tonight, but very big talent. You know, love to bring a Scouser in. Whole family are Liverpool fans, and he plays for United, and he's a United fan in the family. I would love to see what he could do with no pressure on him. It's another player. When he came on and the way he was cutting in and hitting those shots was absolutely superb. The kind of confidence I love personally. Some of you might think, bloody hell, he's a bit cocky, isn't he? Or just put the cross in, just play the pass. Do you know what? If we were under pressure at that point, what's it going to be like when there's no pressure? What you got here, Grace? If Al Nassr win the next game, they win the league. Yep. So Saudi is sort of think they could be changing players up, or the other teams might need to bring in more foreign players. Remember, in the Saudi Pro League, they can have 8 foreign players in their starting 11. I think it is not even their squad. Lacey, hands down, best player on the pitch tonight. And it doesn't surprise me. The only thing with Lacey with me is he looked small in the 18s and 21s. When he came into the first team, I was like, Jesus Christ, he is Messi-esque in stature. He is not big. So he really does know how to use his body to stay away from the defender and the quick footwork to get away from him. But he does worry me he'd get hurt, especially at the Old Trafford pitch. We saw what happened to Xerxes at the weekend, get knocked down the runoff. So if that happened to Lacey, we might never see him again. Grace says, I hope Lacey gets games next season, but he won't be able to play 60 games. We need another winger. There's someone. Well, we don't, because Lacey's a right winger and Mbumo's a right winger. So that's 2. So Mbumo plays 40. Lacey plays 20. You've got Mantaro as well. It's the left-hand side. We need that winger. We got Dorgu. We got Cunha. Cunha not really a winger, but you could class him there. And then you got a Jai, I think you will hear more of next season. And he really should be spoken about in higher regard. But Gabriel takes all the plaudits for some unknown reason. He's obviously just got the bigger and better PR company. See, Naipan was playing for City tonight, was he? Oh, interesting. Remember, we were linked heavily with Naipan. Yeah, no, it was a good player. Oh, yeah, Grace. We do need a left winger. But there were 2 very, very good ones. One in Ajay playing for the 18s and 21s, and then there is another one going with M that plays for the 21s, who, off the top of my head, is just totally gone. So that leaves us to the Cunha debate. Now, I've seen a few shows this week about people saying, I wouldn't mind seeing Cunha just playing the 10. Let's give Bruno a rest. Let's get Mason Mount in it on the 10. Oh, wait, he's injured again, I'm guessing. Because, let's be fair, that guy has more injuries than anyone else I've ever known in my life at Man United, and that includes Luke Shaw. So, Cunha keeps dragging over to the Bruno, which means Luke Shaw can't get down the left. If we bring Kakonki in, or we bring Mazrari in, or anyone else, even a Dorgu, we will be exposed on the left, and that could be a problem. I think Sunderland are very strong down that side, or down their right-hand side. So let's have a look there. See if they've got any changes predicted. So they've got Garantuda playing right back with Hume. Hume's quick, very nippy, good crosser of the ball. Luke Shaw should really be able to deal with him alone. And what I would say is a suspect right back for Sunderland. Not a big fan of him at all. Not a big fan of their centre backs either. I'm not sure if they're second choice or first choice, or just grown into the squad. But Aldo Dirty, whether that's how you pronounce it, that's how I pronounce it. Mukalele is okay, but Alderte, he is very suspect. I would run at him as much as possible because he loves to dive in. So hopefully there's a penalty waiting to happen there. Danny says, Commentary coming for Mount. Yeah, that wouldn't be a surprise at all, would it? A little reunite there with Mount going over to Coventry and Frank Lampard, maybe going on to his coaching staff. It just hasn't worked out, and I've always been a Mason Mount fan. As much as I can only be for England, but I just like the way he moves around the pitch and what he could do. Big up, Jarvis. Good evening, sir. Now, as I was saying about Cunha coming in towards Bruno, we could try something tomorrow. It won't happen because we all know Bruno plays every game. But we could it's the time. You could try Cunha in the 10. You could and put Dorgu on the left at some point. Give Bruno a little rest. He's got a World Cup coming up. He doesn't need to play every game. He's had a hamstring injury. A little bit of rest is always going to be great. Would we do it? I doubt it. I doubt it a lot. But, we got Cunha, we got Mount can also replace him. We're not meant to have any injuries currently. But we don't, Delit, but, sort of forgotten about him. So, again, the 10 position, we got Brian Kerry. I quite like him in the 10. And we also have, he's got the same name as the actor, hasn't he? Not McShane. The amount of Mooks we've had at Manchester United. McEvery. Can't think what it is. Danny, you'll tell me in a minute who it is. He plays sort of in the 8/10 role for United and is captain for the 18s, I think. Someone who could step up. I think he's been superb this year. So there are options, youth and bench players. And like I said, how are we going to ask for money for players if we don't play them, i.e. Mason Mount? How do we get loan players out with decent loan to buy options or anything like that? We've got to put them in the shop window. So I think our midfield stays the same, as you can see behind me. But if I do that, you got Mbumo, you got Fernandez, and for me, wrong way, Cunha out on the left. I don't see anything changing. Cunha's got a goal. You're not going to drop him. McCormick. Oh no, McCormick's a defender. Oh, there's another one. Guys, me and Danny, if you're not sure, just trying to remember who's who in the under 18s and thing. So that's how I see him lining up. Now, what I'm waiting for is a better update on Sesko and whether Sesko will start, because he went off with a shin injury that he was struggling with, we'll say. I thought that he would have been able to run it off. I thought it was just where he come down the barrier and hit it, but apparently he had it before. McAvoy, that's the one. See, Rory McAvoy. His name's not Rory, but in my head. And there was the actor, McAvoy. No, yeah, Danny McAvoy. That's the one I really, really like. The Irish lad, yes. I like the way he drives on very, very sort of young Frank Lampard-esque kind of player. I do like him. So I can stop looking for him now. That's pretty much everyone. Sesko up top. If he's got any kind of knock, it's Xerxes. We start Xerxes. We don't put Mbumo up there and try and get Mbumo, Ahmad, and everyone in the team because we don't need to right now. If we want to move on, Sesko, he has to play. He has to show teams he can play 90 minutes, 60 minutes. So they have a chance. He's not going to go to the World Cup. So he's got 3 games left to get a transfer, really. I don't know. What do you guys think? Come back to me. Do you think we should play Xerxes no matter what and just let Sesko heal up if he had a shin injury and give Xerxes a chance? As Danny says here, I agree. Give Xerxes a chance. Now, do I think Xerxes will score us any goals? No, I don't. But I do think he will set up Mbumo or set up Cunha or Bruno Fernandes because of his link-up play. As long as he backs into a defender and pins the defender back, or as I like to talk about on here, guys, if we're going to stay wide and play wide, then Xerxes just stands 5 yards offside behind the centre backs, pulling the centre backs backwards. Because as long as the ball goes wide, he's not offside. That for me is a must. Obi played tonight, so we can't bring Obi in, and there's no real other strikers I would say ready. Now, I'm not saying Obi is ready. I want to clarify that straight away. I do not think Obi is good enough for the first team currently or ready for the first team. Obviously, a lot of you have been, I'm going to be a little bit harsh here, almost brainwashed to think that JJ Gabriel is going to be coming into the first team next year at the age of 16. He's not. If he does, then we will ruin him. Victor Musa played tonight. That's the other one I was saying because he can play left hand side, Danny. That when I was saying about Ajay, Victor Musa can play left wing as well, or like a left forward. I quite like him. Again, big, powerful, but really quick feet. Almost Pogba-esque. Like thinks he looks huge, but he can move his feet. Now, there are strikers in the youth team. The last time we had a striker come through successfully from the Man United team, like youth team, can anyone remember who it was? I'll let Danny try and see if anyone else can answer first before you chuck the name out, because I'm sure you'll get it. But it's been a while since we had a youth team striker make it at Manchester United. So far, we're recent years, Hugh Gill, people like that, all out on loan to Div 2 sides and could not cut it. Because playing up front is a different kettle of fish for Manchester United than it is anywhere else. Because that expectation of every minute you're on the pitch, if the ball comes near you, you are to put it in. Danny, you were the only one. Yes, it was Makeda. And before that, Rossi. We don't produce strikers. Now, so I was just about to say this. You could say Danny Welbeck. Most people say he never got given the chance. You could say King, who was at Bournemouth. A lot of our players have come back to the Premier League by going a long way round. There's so many ex-Premier League strikers that didn't make the first team, were let go, and they didn't give up the fight. And that's the Man United DNA that a lot of people talk about them having. They say that when a Man United player turns up at your team, you know just by looking at them they're a Man United player, by the way they carry themselves, their manners, their mannerisms. I sort of get it because the way I've heard people talk about them and people I know who have had loanees at their clubs, I think I get it. I think it does come from the black boot scenarios and things like that. So Jarvis says it has to be Welbeck. Would you say Welbeck made it at Manchester United and went on to big things? Maybe, maybe not. I would say he's the best striker now, but Makeda went on to have a really good career in Spain and Italy. Giuseppe Rossi. Also, what a player he was for Villarreal and Italy. Was it Giuseppe Rossi? I want to say it's Giuseppe Rossi, but it was definitely Rossi. They probably had bigger and better careers than what Danny Welbeck has. Yet Danny Welbeck has played bit part at Man United, bit part at Arsenal, main man at Brighton. So, yeah. So I can understand that. I would probably say Makeda was the last one as a big name onto the scene, sold, and went on to have a goal-scoring career. But yeah, Jarvis, Welbeck is definitely in conversation between those two. And I suppose right now, when we're saying Welbeck should go back into the England squad, I'll go with Welbeck. But I'm trying to think of all the strikers we currently have in the youth and the 21s. And there's no one really that jumps out to come in. This is why I've seen saying over the last couple of weeks, maybe bringing back a Welbeck, who before he signed his new contract at Brighton would have been a smart move. And having that older striker, Osman, I said Vardy, didn't I? On Tactical Devils at the start of the season, I said I'd bring him back in with his Red Bull just to see out the end of the games and teach people in training. But it's those kind of things. So, yeah, the way I see it, we've got no choice but to play Xerxes, guys. Very long way around it. We'll bring it back onto track. I think we have to play Xerxes to get rid of Xerxes. I think all the time he sits on the bench and gets thrown on for the last 2-3 minutes. Someone's got to want to buy him, and then he's got to want to go to that team. It's okay to say, we'll sell this player, we'll sell that player. We're not even sure if we can sell a Rashford. So if we can't sell a Rashford, who's in his eyes probably a decent season at Brighton, at Barcelona, we haven't got hope in hell in selling Xerxes, have we? So just the way I sort of understand it and I see it. Guys, there's 9 of you watching at the moment. Make sure all of you have hit the subscribe so we can keep this moving towards the 150 by the end of this month, okay? Jarvis, we try not to. I'll put it on screen, but I try not to say his name. But, you know, I'm hoping we get a massive sell-on from it. It's... and Jarvis, you've just been told by Grace. There you go. Please, guys, as I was saying, we want to be at 500 by the start of next season. 150 by the end of this month. That would be absolutely amazing. We were at 136 before I started this show. So anything more would, you know, you're just helping me bring you new content, knock up new things behind you. As you'll notice, different background today, league tables, stats, things like that, heat maps. This is all being done by myself. My time going into it for you. New logos as well over on this side. You'll notice the United Lens logo is slightly modifying. There'll be a big change at starting next season for 26-27. You'll see it come through. And you also still got to let me know if you want me to cover any of the England games, because obviously we're going to go on a little bit of a hiatus. Do you want any cover? I'm not doing watch-alongs. Jarvis might do over on Tactical Devils, so I would point you in that direction if he doesn't. But please hit that subscribe button. All of us under 1,000 subscribers, we need them. Once we're over that, you'll realise people stop asking. Right, let's get back to it. So, Sunderland, big game, but for different reasons. Sunderland could be a... Sorry, guys, I've been thrown. Grace wants me to do Iran versus USA. I'm not sure if that's a football match or just world politics, Grace. So, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that, won't we? where was I? Yes, big game. So, like I say, we've got an option. We can play fringe players, which I highly recommend if you're trying to sell a player. We can bring in youth players with no pressure on them to see how they do on a bigger stage. Can they take the tackle? Can they take a whack? So, if I was to say it did happen, and you put Fletcher or a Freights up against a Janik Xhaka, who has been superb this season for Sunderland. I know we said they're not going to play, and I totally respect that, but what a test. Yeah, what a step up from 18s, 21s. Xhaka, you know, the guy's an absolute beast. I would have loved that. Evening, Trevor. Trevor, better late than never. We are talking about whether we should be playing a couple of fringe players. Trevor, we're talking about should we be playing a couple of youth players. But obviously, both the 21s and the 18s have got really important games coming up. 18s have got the FA Cup final, which is a shit show. And 21s have made the final of PL2. So, come, let me know what are you saying? Would you rather have a Ugarte and Mount get some minutes so we can potentially increase the chances of their sales? Or would you like to see, I don't know, Shaw left out and Kokonki come in at left back, or a Fredrickson given a run out? Maybe not Fredrickson, because I wouldn't have Fredrickson and Heaven. But if Heaven was to be dropped, not for a Martinez, maybe a Fredrickson. Combined Deer come in and play last 3 games in goal. Would anyone object to that? Because Lemans has been absolutely superb. And probably, Sunderland game wouldn't be the game to drop him because he made the mistake in the last one. So you've got to keep his confidence up. Go, don't worry about it. Keep going. There you go. Jarvis said he's definitely going to do Norway watch-alongs in the group of death. So good luck with that, Jarvis. That's going to be very stressful. Bob, evening, sir. Evening. Thank you for joining us. 14 viewers. Hey, I'll take what I can get. It's a Friday night. It's been a hard week for a lot of people after a bank holiday weekend here in the UK. I'm happy. But you're one of those viewers, Bob. Have your say. What do you think about youth or fringe players playing in the last 3 games? Or even if it's just half an hour, please give me your take. Trevor says he wouldn't have Bindeer anywhere near. Do you think Fredrickson will make it? He's not a young kid anymore. I think he has to be on loan next season, Grace, if I'm honest. Danny's off. He's got a run. Good night, Danny, mate. Thanks for coming. And I will catch up with you Sunday, I suppose, because I'm not going to be able to do anything after the game tomorrow. It is the other half's birthday. So we will be out for all day and night. So... Hey, no picking on him, Trevor. You notice Trevor's turned up and Danny's run off. I'm just saying, is it the same person? Never seen him in the room together. Right. So, if we were to rotate and drop points, would you care? I know it's 1 point for guaranteed third, but would you care if there was a benefit to it? And it's not necessarily going to be a benefit you always see. So, like I say, an increased game time for a Ugarte who goes to the World Cup. Maybe has a good or okay World Cup. For Uruguay, we know he's one of the starting midfielders. And I don't know, here Benfica come in for him, or maybe a mid-table Italian side come in for him, and we can move him on for 20 million. We'd all be happy. But would you prefer to get the 1 point or 3 points, or whatever it is from the game, guarantee the third, and then just trial it in the last 2 matches, which is Forest and Brighton? Brighton will be pushing for probably the Conference League spot, and that should be up for grabs. Especially now Palace have made the final. Brighton are really going to want to get into Europe and try and... I don't want to see Palace winning a cup, do they? And then not having a chance. So I could see them doing that. Thank you, Jarvis. Thank you. I will pass it on. Don't forget this. I have, and I won't say what it is just in case she's watching. I doubt it though, but she does sometimes jump in and out, see if I'm still awake. We know how that works with Stu, don't we, from our shows? Grace wants 3 goals, 3 points, and 8 goals minimum. Well, that is a good segue, Grace, because Forest put 5 past them, didn't they, the other week? It was a massive shock. Forest obviously fighting to get out of relegation. Sunderland have been quite solid all season, and then they shipped 5. But we are playing them at Stadium of Light, so that is little bit different. On our day, absolutely, we can put 5 past them, 8 past them, because we've done that against bigger and better teams. The thing with a Sunderland is they will beat us up. They will run us. They will shoulder barge us. They will go for every header, which we don't always get against, say, a Man City, a Liverpool, and teams like that. And that's the part of the game I really need to see Man United change next season. So I can see where you're coming from. Trevor, want us to finish the season strong, so as strong a team as possible to keep the feel-good factor going forward. Do you think there's any bigger feel factor at the moment, Trev, than guaranteed Champions League football? Because don't forget, guaranteeing the Champions League football means they've all just been given a 25% wage increase because they're back to their proper salary by getting back in the Champions League. The Adidas money comes back up. The shirt sponsor for the training kit will come back. Everything like that. So they're being good moves because they're going to be earning more money next season now. Would love us to win 5 in a row, so never have to hear about that. Oh my God, Jarvis, I've totally forgotten about that. Yeah, if we win 5 in a row, or fail to win 5 in a row, is that guy going to keep his hair growing until next season? He should have put a caveat in, shouldn't he? Win 5 in a row, or we get Champions League football, then I'll cut my hair. But it has sort of dried up because all the negative press he got under Carrick. But you are right. Also, Bruno needs to beat the assist records, so we need a few intelligent players playing, not too much youth. Well, if we haven't got a striker, Trevor, if Sesko's out, I don't like Mbumo playing up top. We have to put Xerxes there. It's going to be even harder for Bruno to get those assists. So we'll need the corners, won't we? We'll need corners and free kicks so Casemiro can get on the end of his crosses. Yeah, okay. I like that, guys. I like the fact that you have the mindset of basically always play your strongest team, which is United DNA for pretty much, I'm guessing, all of us grew on. Cunha's not a striker either, Grace. He will drop back to pick up the ball and want to run at the centre-back. He won't run in behind, and that's probably going to be our biggest problem. Yeah, but he can't play, Jarvis. You're right. He can't play because he played today. He can't play tomorrow. You know, rules are rules. Do I think he's capable of playing 2 games in 2 days? Should be at his age, right? He cannot get his hair cut as he now needs to go to the local grass cutters or lawnmower trimming. Yeah, I'm surprised he's not actually falling over from the weight on his hair yet. Do you know what I mean? Just falling backwards or forwards every time. So, okay, then we've covered that off. Let's have a look at one other thing, which I was very interested to get your take on, guys. So, as you can see, we are... Well, where is it? I'm trying to get my finger. See, this is the thing I've got to do. So, you can see we're in the Champions League. You can see Villa. Now, Villa made that final. Do you think Villa making the final is going to have a big say on these European spots behind us? Because am I right in thinking Aston Villa have got Liverpool to play? Because that's the other thing. If Liverpool don't win, it's another reason we don't need to play players. It's not that I'm pushing for a change up, but I do want to see something different. I want to see what Carrick can do. We're all talking about, should Carrick get the job? Should we give it to someone else? it was really refreshing today to hear both of my choices spoken about being given on the overlap. And Paul Scholes turned around and said, if you can't get Enrique, then give Carrick the job. Gary Neville was absolutely in agreement to that. If you can't get Ancelotti or Enrique, give Carrick the job. Which is pretty much what I've been saying and Stu's been saying when we've been on Jarvis' show on Mondays. That would work. But if we're going to give Carrick the job, I need to see what he can do if there was an injury crisis, things like that. So that's what I'm talking about, rotating the players. How well coached are these players to come in and do the same job? They should be the same patterns of play. There should be the same, it's not ability, but attempt to play the same ball. So when Casemiro or Bruno get the ball, they sweep it out over the top towards the right back. Bruno plays it quite flat driven, and it sort of dies with a lot of backspin. Casemiro plays a high bending ball down the wing, but they could be in the same position. It's just a different way of playing that pass. Now, I need to see Mainu playing those balls. I need to see Ugarte playing those balls, and I would love to see any young player come in. And then I know they're being coached in the same way, because that's a pattern of play rather than can I do it? That's what I expect you to do if you're playing this role. Same with the Cunha situation. I said about him drifting inside. Now, if Dorgu comes in and stays wide left, but when Cunha's there, he comes inside, we know that's not a coaching thing. We know that's players going off script. So that's why I want to see in these games where they don't matter, little changes, because it's going to give me a little more of an insight into whether Carrick is the right kind of manager or not. Now, obviously, doesn't mean Carrick teaches every single aspect of the patterns of play. A lot of it will be down to all the coaching staff. And I don't know if they're tweaking it depending on the team, right? Because we will be up against a team playing exactly the same formation as us, 4-2-3-1. So 4-2-3-1, 4-2-3-1. It's about who gambles with the wide players staying wide, who uses them to stiffen up into a five-man midfield, and their shapes. So I just want to see more of it's not a defined style of play, because I don't think we can get that. It's more of off the cusp, because in the last two games, he's changed at halftime. He's changed players and he's changed formation against Brentford. Okay, let's see something different in this game. Show us something different. So I'd like to see what you guys think. No, Jarvis. No, what they do is they get a fifth spot. If they're in sixth, we will get 6 teams into the Champions League. But if they're in fifth, it just stays as 5. It's messed up. I don't understand why. But what happens is you get an extra team in the Europa League from it. So we still get an extra team in Europe. Just depends on where Villa finish. I think we will get top 5 Champions League, say. Villa then will get Champions League, and 6, 7, and 8 will go to Europa League, and 9 will be Conference League, I believe. But it's one of those that no one really follows, because don't forget, if Palace also win the Conference League, that's another team in Europa League. So how are they going to balance that? I don't know, because you can't lose a team. So that one team's earned it, and a team that earns a spot can't have it taken away from them. So you're meant to get more. So it could go down to 11 different spots. And again, then you just dominate. How do you not win that every year if you've got the maximum amount of teams possible in it? It is a bit stupid, but I've never agreed with the coefficients anyway. What's he got here? So purely from an English football perspective, you get more Premier League teams from the Champions League if Villa finish 6th and win the Europa League. Yes, and then you can get up to 4 teams in Europa League the following season, but you can only ever have one in the Conference League. So you could have an all-English semi-finals, next year, potentially. We've already got another all-English game this year. We obviously were an all-English final last year with Tottenham. We had an all-English semi-final, and I think the year before that was an all-English semi-final. Palace have obviously made the final. West Ham made it 2 years before that. Pretty much, if you're the English team, you should win it every year, Conference League. And I think we should have an English team in the semi-finals, Europa League, no matter what, as well. So, yeah, that's European football for you. It's completely messed up, and it's definitely built for the Premier League, and that's where all the viewership's from anyway, isn't it? So that is how it is. But we talk about European experience and Premier League experience on transfers. And this is where it gets a little bit messed up, because if it's getting that easy for Premier League teams to get half the league into Europe, it dilutes that argument, in my opinion. So yeah, it is a weird one, because just because you're making it into Europe, you can't really say it is experience, but not necessarily good experience, is it? So there's different kinds of experience. Just because you've done something once doesn't mean you can do it 1,000 times. And the extra spot, if Palace wins, that'll make it 10. I think it's 11 in total, but it's possible. So basically, you can get relegated and still almost play in Europe for the following season. It's been done, Trevor. It's been done. Remember, both Millwall and Wigan played in Europe while in the Championship. So by winning the FA Cup. So it's one of the things I think that got changed. And yeah, look at Tottenham. Beat us in the final. If they got relegated, they still would have been in the Champions League last year by winning the Europa League and getting relegated. It is ridiculous. Grace, I totally agree with you. I wouldn't even do that. I still think Champions League should be the champions, and then do what you want with the other European competitions. Have them as big or small as you want, but don't call the Champions League fucking five places below, who could be 20 points off the top. Do you know what I mean? How can they be in a Champions League? Absolutely ridiculous. Or change the title. That's just an opinion I've always had. Go back to calling it European Cup, right? It's good for us in a way, because no one will have fresh legs. It won't be us playing twice a week. Well, yeah, no. So if there were 10 teams in the Premier League, the season would be so even, because no one would be able to have like games in hand, because obviously 20 teams in the league, 10 teams in Europe that week, no one else. You could put them on, but there's no need to make other teams play when other teams are in Europe or on a Friday night. You could just literally play everyone on a Saturday, and then the 10 teams that aren't in Europe get a rest while the others play, or they play each other on those weeks. So that would be too much planning for the FA to sort that out. Nothing worse than Thursday, Sunday football ruins the league form completely. I don't know if that's true, Trevor, because you can play Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, or Tuesday, Sunday, Wednesday in the Champions League. That's 3 games in 7 days. And that's going back to when we were in the old group matches. So it's still 2 games a week. But when you break it down over the course of a month, it seems ridiculous, especially in February. But if like I say, if 10 teams have that, it should be fine. So that's just the way I see it. So I think we've covered off the review. I think we've more than covered off the review, with people coming in late and everything, going over a few things twice. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with that at all. But what I will say is, I have a question for you guys. Going forward, Trevor's already brought up about me covering more of the youth. In 26-27 season, obviously we're going to have Champions League football. I think that's going to probably put me at 6, 9. I'll almost be doing 6 days a week, shows wise. If you think preview, reviews, post match reactions, things like that, and we're playing 2 games a week. I've got a lot of changes coming. So as and when you see them, just have your say on them. Like I say, you can see there's a little change in the background coming here. There'll be changes for each competition. We've got the new logo. There's some more stuff to come over the summer. And if you don't give me any feedback about it, I'm not going to know if it's working or not. Okay, guys? So make sure you're getting in these comments afterwards. That's my question to you. I need more from you. So what is it you need me to give you to come back in the comments? The main one is going to be what we cover off last before I go. Score predictions. Okay. So you can give me your score predictions. You can amend it in the comments if you change your mind. I'm going for 3-1. I'm going for, as you can see, I put out our strongest starting 11. But I'm going for 3-1. And I think that we're going to have Bruno break his assists in this game. I think he gets 2 assists and that's done. And then that's it. We switch off for the rest of the season. And I'm okay with switching off. That's not a bad one. I do always think we struggle to stop teams from scoring. Maybe we get a little bit over comfortable. Just make you champion league, knockout competitions, round of 32, 16, 84. Yep. Grace, you will never hear me disagree with anything like that. That's how I think it will. Thank you, Trevor. Like I say, there's more stuff coming on the reviews. We're gonna, on the list side, we'll have the stats from the game. Obviously, starting line up in the middle. And you can see I've already got the stats for I was going to say progression, possession, XG. I did have to put XG up there because some people do like seeing it. I hate it. And sort of like shots taken and things like that. Ground on the other side, just give it a little bit more of a theme. If I just, you'll be able to see it better if I do this. Oh, no, you won't. I need to turn my camera off. Hang on, see if this works. Where is my camera? All right, here you go, Trev. I'll do this for you. If I there you go. So the new logo you can see on the desk at up the top. That's going to start popping up on all my socials. If there's any kind of other information you need, previews, like I say, where we are on the table, everything will happen. Let's get Trevor off there. And let me know if it looks too busy. Those are the kind of things. So give me a little bit of feedback and I'll tweak it. But I've got nice ones for the Carabao, FA Cup, and my Champions League one looks absolutely unreal. But I'm still tweaking them. I've got all summer. But I'm just going to keep bringing them through. Oh, so yes. Let's get the camera back on. Although some people might. And I'm back in the room. So yeah. But yeah, guys, come on. Trevor, what's your scoreline? Grace, what do you reckon? Dallo scored a winner, 1-0? Or Jarvis, you still here? There's 10 of you guys. Come on. You don't have to say much, but just pop it in the chat. Like I say, if you don't want to pop it in the chat, pop it on the comments afterwards. Give me your scoreline. Give me your goal scorers. But for me, Bruno, 2 assists. We win 3-1. And I do think we might make some late on changes, and that's where they get their 1 from. As long as it's not Brian Bobby, I don't care. Jarvis has gone for 1-0. Yeah, I'll give 4-1 Sesko hat trick. Trevor, I'd absolutely jump off my seat because I love seeing a player progress in the way Sesko has. He's progressed how I hoped Rasmus would. And obviously he's shown it has been possible to do it at Manchester United and not have to go to Napoli. Dallo to kick the ball over and it land at Anfield. Well, yeah. Yeah, some people might say it's not possible to kick a ball out of Old Trafford, but Dallo definitely has a way of proving us wrong. Jarvis always goes for the controversial 1-0 as usual. Hey, do you know what? I used to go last season, the amount of times I said 1-0 Bruno penalty, right? Because I just felt that was the only way we were going to get a goal. So, yeah, here's what it is. So, that's it from me, guys. I will be back Sunday. Okay. Obviously, like I said, I'm not going to be able to jump on and do my player review. So, I will do that Sunday morning or mid afternoon, and we'll go about. Well, I'm starting to feel like the 10 o'clock time instead of 9 o'clock is a little bit better for everyone. So maybe I'll start doing 10 o'clock. Means I'll have to condense it down more to just the sort of hour and a half maximum. Grace has gone 3-0 Sunderland. Grace, I know it's Friday night, but have you been drinking? But I'll go for 10. Again, if you think 10 or 9, the more people that talk to me in the comments or on the community page and give me those takes, I can take it into account, okay? But until Sunday night, guys, have a good one. Obviously, we will get a win of some sort tomorrow. Get third place, you know. Then Carrick can claim he's got the second best finish for Manchester United after Mourinho. And onwards and upwards. So I will see you 10 o'clock Sunday night. Take care. Oh, Grace says 9 a.m. I'm not doing 9 a.m. I won't be out of bed. Right. Take care, guys. I'll see you later.